From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday engaged in a productive discussion with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim of Malaysia via phone call at the study room in Malacañang Palace. During their conversation, the President expressed his deepest gratitude to Prime Minister Ibrahim for Malaysia's valuable assistance and support to the country in the aftermath of severe tropical storm Christine and super typhoon Leon. In particular, President Marcos Jr. highlighted Malaysia's deployment of airlift assets that played a crucial role in the delivery of relief operations and services to Filipinos in affected areas, specifically in flood-ravaged and isolated communities. In response, Prime Minister Ibrahim reaffirmed Malaysia's steadfast commitment to support the Philippines in times of calamities and disasters, noting the strength of partnership among member states in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, when it comes to responding to regional challenges. Last week, the Philippine Air Force, or PAF, also extended its gratitude to Malaysia for their invaluable contributions to the relief operations. The PAF recognized its international partners in humanitarian assistance and disaster response, or HADR operations, during a recognition and awarding ceremony at the PAF Multipurpose Gymnasium at Villamor Air Base in Pasay City on Thursday. In his speech, PAF Commanding General Lieutenant General Stephen Pareño expressed his gratitude to the international partners for exemplifying the spirit of bayanihan, or in English, cooperation. The ceremony was attended by contingents from Republic of Singapore Air Force headed by Major Go Meng Hui, Royal Malaysian Air Force, or RMAF, headed by Major Thaddeus Rafael Aziz, and Royal Brunei Air Force headed by Lieutenant Colonel Muhammad Azmi bin Haji Aflon, together with their pilots and crew. The RMAF's EC-725 Caracal long-range transport helicopter, which arrived October 26th, operated by a team of 16, flew out of Villamor Saturday and was sent off by PAF officials.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday said flood control projects were overwhelmed by the staggering amount of rainfall brought by severe tropical storm Christine that triggered massive flooding in several areas in Luzon. The President made the pronouncement in response to those questioning and looking for the billions worth of flood control projects amid the severe flooding. In an interview after his visit to Laurel, Batangas Province, one of the areas badly hit by the storm, President Marcos told reporters that Christine's rainfall nearly doubled those brought by Typhoon Ondoy in 2009, which submerged many parts of the country, including Metro Manila. The chief executive said typhoons are made stronger now by climate change. President Marcos said he has no problem with the calls to investigate the flood control projects. However, he said they have to realize there are two sides to this. Let us listen to the interview of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
I'm not going. I don't want to talk about. I need to talk about what's happened here. At nakita naman ninyo kung gaano kalaki ang naging sira sa infrastructure. At yun ang tinitignan namin, in-inspection namin. Tapos yung kabuhayan. At marami talagang ang laki na talaga ng tubig. Maraming nagsasabi, nababasa ko sa dyaryo, naririnig ko sa radyo, television, nasa na mga flood control. Nandyan ang mga flood control na overwhelm lang. Tignan ninyo ang statistic. Nung bagyong Undoy, 400 plus centimeters ang bumagsak na tubig. Dito sa Christine, ang bumagsak na tubig is about 700 plus. Halos doble ng Undoy. Kaya yung flood control ginawa natin para sa mga baha kagaya ng Undoy. Bago ito, kausapin nyo yung mga tao. Yung mga lugar na gumuho ang lupa, ngayon lang nangyari yan. Hindi pa nangyari sa buong buhay nila, sa buong kasaysayan ng mga lugar na yon na gumuho ang lupa dahil napakalaki ng tubig. Tapos yung mga nabaha, ganun din. Bumabaha siguro dati, pero hindi ganito kalaki. Nagbago talaga ang panahon. Kaya yung climate change na aming pinag-uusapan ay talagang naging nakikita na natin. Hindi na kailangan ipaliwanag dahil unfortunately nararamdaman na talaga natin na sarili natin. Hindi na natin kailangan basahin pa yung mga report o study ng mga scientifico. Alam na natin kung gaano kabigat ang magiging epekto ng climate change. Kaya hindi bale basta tulong lang tayo ng tulong.
Sir, imbestigahan yung mga flood control projects, hindi busisiin daw sa budget,
Oo, sige.
what's been happening?
Wala akong problem. But also they have to realize there are two sides to this. Sinasabi yung flood control, talagang nang-overwhelm ang flood control natin. May flood control tayo, hindi kaya. Hindi talaga kaya dahil sa buong kasaysayan ng Pilipinas, wala pang ganito. Ngayon lang natin haharapin ito. Kaya dapat maunawaan talaga ng tao, hindi lamang yung budget, kung ano yung science. What's the science? Follow the science. See what's happening. Tignan ninyo, hindi lamang dito. Nakita nyo ba yung nangyari sa Espanya? Nakita nyo ba yung mga nangyayari sa iba't ibang lugar? Sa States, yung mga nangyayari. Ganyan din. Doon din sa mga lugar na yun, ngayon lang nangyari yan. Kaya gagawin natin, babaguhin natin ang mga design, patitibayan natin yung mga infrastructure, mga flood control, yung mga slope protection, pati yung mga tulay. Lahat yan, kailangan natin baguhin, tignan natin na mas magandang design. Para
Time na i-order ang DNR to review or mag-implement muna ng moratorium sa mga development. Kasi yung isang reason bakit binabaha is yung mga development.
Well, that's always been a problem, but it's not been as severe as it is now. And again, it's climate change. It's something that never happened before. And it is something that we have to deal with. There's no other way. It's something that we have to deal with. We have to be smarter. We have to be more technologically aware of what is available so that we can reduce the effects. And that is why pinaglaban natin yung loss and damage board na dalhin dito sa Pilipinas dahil sana sila itutulong sa atin para ayusin lahat yan. Okay? Thank you. I know. I'll tell you the truth. It's never enough. It's never enough. I wish we could do more. We're doing everything that we can. But, when you lose a life, you lose a life. What can you do about that? It's terrible tragedy.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. attended a solemn mass in memory of those who lost their lives during the devastating impact of severe tropical storm Christine at Sampaloc Town in Talisay, Batangas Province. The mass is in line with Proclamation number 728 series of 2024 that declared November 4th as a day of national mourning to express solidarity with the families and loved ones of the victims affected by the storm's devastation. Christine unleashed torrential rain and violent winds from the 21st to the 25th of October, triggering catastrophic flooding and landslides across several regions. The municipality of Talisay reported at least 20 fatalities out of 61 deaths from the province of Batangas, resulting from landslides and drowning. Batangas is currently in a state of calamity. The chief executive emphasized the urgency of preventing further loss of life due to natural disasters, citing the increasing severity and rapid development of typhoons. In his speech during the distribution of assistance to farmers, fisherfolk, and families, President Marcos said he has directed government agencies to take action, starting with the Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, to improve warning systems for timely advisories. He highlighted the importance of continuing the Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG's Operation Listo, for disaster readiness of local government units, or LGUs. The President also instructed the National Irrigation Administration, or NIA, Department of Energy, or DOE, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, and Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System, or MWSS, to preemptively release dam water before storms to prevent flooding. Moreover, the chief executive directed the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, to reassess disaster response for quicker aid, tasked the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, to improve slope protection for roads and bridges to address climate change, and instructed the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, to ensure the use of quality materials for public safety. President Marcos Jr. reaffirmed the government's commitment to infrastructure projects, mentioning the ongoing Taal Lake Circumferential Road that aims to facilitate faster travel between Talisay, Agoncillo, and Laurel.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday led the inspection of Bayuyungan Bridge, also known as the Bugaan Bridge, a critical structure connecting various villages to the town affected by the onslaught of severe tropical storm Christine at the municipality of Laurel in Batangas Province. In his speech during the distribution of various government assistance, the President said the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, is already looking into it, and he has ordered them to prioritize the rehabilitation of the infrastructure as soon as possible. The chief executive assured that Batangas would recover, supported by the completion of the Taal Lake Circumferential Road and Lobo Malabrigo San Juan La Ia Road. Recognizing that infrastructure quality is crucial, President Marcos assigned the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, to ensure that all construction materials meet standards for quality, safety, and climate adaptability. Among the major infrastructure damages in Batangas are the collapsed Bayuyungan Bridge in Laurel, the slope protection along the said bridge, and a damaged road in Agoncillo. These damages resulted in the inaccessibility of affected villages, posing challenges for emergency response and the transportation of agricultural goods. The DPWH made a proposal to rebuild the collapsed Bayuyungan Bridge using 150 million pesos in programmed funds, while the damaged slope protection will be reconstructed with a separate allocation of another 150 million pesos. The collapsed road in Agoncillo will be repaired via an allotment of 50 million pesos.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, in celebration of the 40th anniversary of Philippines-Brunei Darussalam diplomatic relations, Her Royal Highness Princess Haja Masna, Ambassador-at-Large at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Brunei Darussalam, undertook a 4-day working visit to the Philippines, which started Monday, November 4th. Princess Masna, the third most powerful woman in Brunei after Queen Saleha and Crown Princess Sarah. According to the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA, the Philippines and Brunei Darussalam share warm and cordial relations owing to historic people-to-people exchanges and a shared commitment to a peaceful and prosperous region. The two countries continue to work together for stronger bilateral cooperation, especially in areas of tourism, agriculture, and defense. From the 28th to the 29th of May, President Marcos was on a state visit to Brunei that led to the signing of agreements on tourism cooperation, maritime cooperation, and standards of training, certification, and watchkeeping for seafarers, which are anticipated to positively impact growth and development in the region. Brunei is also a member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, who is committed to a peaceful and prosperous region.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines on Monday denounced North Korea's continuing ballistic missile launches, urging it to stop the provocative actions that undermine peace and stability in the Korean Peninsula and the Indo-Pacific region. In a statement, the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, called on the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or DPRK, to immediately cease these activities and abide by all international obligations. The Philippines has repeatedly denounced and called out North Korea's activities in the past. Manila urged Pyongyang to observe the United Nations Security Council resolutions and engage in constructive dialogue with the international community. Last October 31st, the reclusive state tested an intercontinental ballistic missile dubbed Hwasong-19, believed to have achieved the longest flight time recorded for a North Korean missile, raising concerns among neighboring countries and the international community. Reaffirming its support for stability in the region, the Philippines joined the international community in advocating for the complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of North Korea.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on the DFA, the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, on Monday made a clarification about the recent execution of an overseas Filipino worker, or OFW, who was convicted of murder in Saudi Arabia last month. In a statement, DFA Undersecretary for Migration Eduardo Jose de Vega defined the clarification as a sensitive matter after hearing from the OFW's family about the incident. De Vega said he now understands that the physical altercation between the OFW and the victim over a business dispute that led to this unfortunate incident was more serious than previously known. Earlier, Philippine Embassy in Riyadh, Chargé d'Affaires Romel Romato said the Saudi government carried out the execution without prior notification to the embassy or the Filipino national's family in accordance with local procedures. Romato said the OFW was executed for the killing of a Saudi national stemming from financial dispute. De Vega clarified that the OFW was threatened, attacked, and beaten in his own residence by the victim over monetary issues. While his statement cannot undo the outcome of the incident, De Vega said, the DFA owes it to the OFW's family to publicly acknowledge the full context of the events. De Vega also reiterated that no further interviews or queries on the matter will be entertained out of respect for the family's privacy.
Dateline Malacañang.
China has yet to respond to the Philippines' demand for payment for the equipment damage and losses incurred from the China Coast Guard or CCG harassment of Manila's rotation and resupply mission at Ayungin Shoal in June. In a media briefing at Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City Monday, Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP Chief General Romeo Bronner Jr. said they already gave a letter to the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA. The AFP has demanded 60 million pesos from Beijing after the CCG crew took at least 7 rifles in cases, punctured 2 rigid-hulled inflatable boats, and damaged navigational and communications equipment during the June 17th harassment. 8 Philippine Navy sailors were also injured. One of them, Seaman First Class Underwater Operator Jeffrey Facundo, who lost his right thumb. It was later restored by military doctors and their partners from the Makati Medical Center Foundation. Facundo is now assigned at Headquarters Naval Special Operations Command in Sangley Point, Cavite City.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines Statistics Authority or PSA on Tuesday reported that the country's headline inflation or overall inflation increased to 2.3% in October from the 1.9% registered in September. This brings the national average inflation rate for the first 10 months of the year to 3.3%. In October last year, the inflation rate was higher at 4.9%. According to the PSA, the uptrend in the overall inflation in October was primarily influenced by the faster annual increment in the heavily weighted food and non-alcoholic beverages at 2.9% during the month from 1.4% in September. Also contributing to the uptrend was transport with a slower year-on-year decrease of 2.1% during the month from a 2.4% annual drop in September of 2024. Meanwhile, the National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA said the country's inflation remains within target despite a slight uptick in October, underscoring the government's vigilant measures to stabilize prices amid external pressures. In a statement, NEDA Secretary Arsenio Balisacan said, the government is fully committed to ensuring price stability and protecting Filipino households from undue shocks. Balisacan added that the recent weather disturbances, including Typhoon Christine, have posed significant challenges to food supply and logistics. The NEDA Secretary said the government is working relentlessly to keep food available and prices steady, particularly for essential commodities. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration or PAGASA forecasts that La Nina will persist until the first quarter of 2025, with 2 to 8 tropical cyclones expected to affect the country until April. To mitigate the impact of natural disasters, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, is implementing the Building on Social Protection for Anticipatory Action and Response in Emergencies and Disasters, or Be Spared program. This initiative provides social safety nets and capacity building measures to support affected communities. Secretary Balisacan said President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has mobilized all of government to ensure relief efforts are comprehensive and delivered on time, adding that the chief executive also directed its economic managers to craft a robust solution to build the resilience of families and communities amid the onslaught of severe typhoons.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.820 MHz, and 12.010 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You'll be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.